Well, it was American author Mark Twain who famously said there are three kinds of lies: lies, damned lies and statistics. And yet, in modern American presidential politics, it seems that statistics are the best possible place to find the truth about all sorts of things, including, perhaps most importantly, who's going to vote on election day and for whom. My first guest this week is an Australian who's become one of the most respected political scientists in the United States today. Simon Jackman is Professor of Political Science and Statistics at Stanford University and back in Australia to give a talk at the annual TEDx conference in Sydney this weekend. Simon Jackman, welcome back to Planet America.
Thanks for that very kind introduction.
Now, the election last year, in some ways it's being sort of characterised as, if not revenge of the nerds, a victory of the nerds. The number crunchers that Obama had beat the number crunchers that Obama should have had.
Yeah, well, a couple of things to say about that. The Obama campaign had 50 analysts in-house. That was up tenfold from what they had in 2008, and maybe up 12 to 15-fold over what the Romney campaign had. Those people did an awful lot of work. Some of the wins in the swing states, it looks like that extra effort, particularly in the ground game, as it's called in America, made a lot of difference.
How does analysis lead to winning states and votes? What connects the two?
It means being able, for one thing, remember in the American system, it means turning out your vote. It means in a state like Ohio, can you get early ballots in the hands of registered Democrats and lock those votes in early? Can you track how you're doing with that? Can you match your field operations to what your polling is telling you as well? Are you deploying your polling resources efficiently? Because that's very expensive as well. And where are your ad buys going? Are they going to the right place? The other thing I'd say, and this is really new in American politics, is the relentless use of experimentation by the Obama campaign, trying out different messages, trying it out in a part of the country that's not in play, bringing back results from that back into a state like Ohio and delivering a message that you know is effective because you've got an experiment in your back pocket to back you up.
How remarkable was it that the Obama campaign in 2012 continued to innovate, to really lead the way in so many of these areas? It seems that incumbents often fall into the trappings of office, and the insurgent campaign that miraculously got elected in 4 years ago suddenly just becomes a bit tired and lazy and doesn't lead.
It's an interesting thing. There was a concerted effort to make sure that the brains trust, this army of young people really enthused by the Obama candidacy, that didn't run away like sand through their hands between 2008 and 12, that they were able to bring the team back together and, in fact, grow it tenfold on the analysis side. And bring those lessons learned to keep that strong message of analysis-driven, data-driven political campaigning. They knew that was what got them over the line in 2008. They knew 12 was going to be a closer election. The economy wasn't great. They were going to need that team again, in fact, an even bigger one. So that was no accident. That was a plan, and they executed on that plan.
You talk about in the American system with non-compulsory voting, getting out the vote, GOTV is all important because essentially from election to election, the electorate changes depending on who stays at home and who doesn't. There was, it seems, a fundamental difference of opinion between the two campaigns last year. The Obama campaign was determined that it was going to be like 2008 again, a similar makeup. Romney's campaign was convinced, no, this is 2004, which Bush won. Why did the Romney campaign get that so wrong?
I don't know the answer to that, but it was wrong. And that's the tale of the tape. If whoever got that bet right in 12, that the electorate would look more like 8 than 4 or 10, the midterms, where the Republicans did very well. If you bet on the wrong side of that, you lost the election. Now, I don't know what data the Romney people were looking at. I don't know what data the Gallup people were looking at, who were producing forecasts at one point that Romney was ahead by 5, 6 points.
Sure.
But if you bet against demography, you're betting against a lot. And they got that wrong. Obama won the non-white vote something like 80-20, and they constituted 22% of the election. That was just a brute fact about the electorate in 12. You ignore that at your peril in contemporary American politics.
But it hasn't been. You talk about the 2010 midterms where Republicans did very well, where turnout was in the 30-something% rather than the high 50s or low 60s, so it's a different electorate again. That was a problem for Obama, and it's also been a problem trying to mobilise that support in office. Things like gun control recently. Didn't matter how many votes he had just 3 months before, the Senate wasn't moving.
This is the great problem, right? So it's one thing for armies of people to get excited and to turn out to elect an African-American president and then to re-elect an African-American president. But the rest of the time, that support tends to be, to use the sand through your hands metaphor again, that just dissipates. It's very tough to maintain that level of enthusiasm and energy when Obama is not at the top of the ticket. It's his re-election that's at stake. The rest of the time, people have busy lives. They go back to doing all the things that they do. And politics fades into the background for an awful lot of people. Republicans tend to do well in midterms as a result.
Well, Simon Jackman, stay with us. We're going to see you in a few minutes at the roundish table. Thanks for being with us on Planet America.
Thank you.